What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we have the keys to the 3rd gen Ford Raptor and the all-new Ram TRX. We're going to put these trucks head to head, see what they look like inside and out, the performance differences, the off-road differences, and then POV drive these bad boys and see what they're like. Big shout out and thank you to Carolina Auto Direct for providing both of these awesome pickup trucks for today's video. Check out their website, linked down below. They have probably the best selection of nearly brand new cars on the lots today. Definitely check out their website. I love seeing all the cool cars that they have in stock, so check them out. To start it off with the pricing, the MSRP on a TRX is close to $90,000 to $100,000, while the Raptor is actually in the 70s. If you opt for the Raptor R, which will have a supercharged V8, that one is closer in price to the TRX. So technically, this Raptor we're looking at, brand new MSRP, is going to be about 20 grand less than a TRX. But underneath the hoods, over on this Raptor, you're going to find a 3.5 liter V6 engine. It's got 2 turbochargers on it, making 450 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. The biggest differences, over on this TRX, we have a massive 6.2 liter supercharged V8 pumping out 702 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. You get so much more power out of this V8. That is just nuts, the differences. And we only get an 8-speed transmission, however. But crazy to see the big ol' engine in that TRX. Now, as far as the dimensions go, these trucks are almost identical. They both have a 145-inch wheelbase, and then the width, we got 86 inches over on the Raptor and 88 inches on the TRX. Other than that, they are about the exact same size. And then towing on both trucks is a little over 8,000 pounds. So next up, let's move to the exterior styling. Obviously, this is very subjective depending on which truck you think looks better. That's kind of which one you're gonna like. But the Ram, super aggressive. We have a huge intake duct. We got the LED lights on the top of it, heat extraction vents, huge hood. This is a very muscular looking truck. Big old Ram logo, huge openings for the grille. Got some silver down below with the skid plate and everything. LEDs within the headlights. Moving to the Raptor, equally as aggressive, I would say. We got a huge grille, LED headlights. We have these same triple lights in the center of the grille, and since these trucks are so wide, they actually have to have that due to regulations. We have corner lights on the side part of the front bumper on the farthest points on each truck, also for regulations. Same silver down below with your tow hooks. And then a really aggressive hood as well with some heat extraction vents and your Raptor logo. We get a heat extraction vent on the front fender on the Raptor, and then moving back over to the TRX, you're going to see the same thing. We have an intake duct, and that leads to a vent on the backside. So you can tell they both have a lot of similarities with styling. We got full crew cab, so you got the full 4-door, and then the shorter beds. I mean, I really cannot have any complaints with the way these trucks look. I don't think many people are going to argue with that. Moving to the back, we get big logos on the back, dual exhaust, very, very cool looking, super wide fender flares. And then moving back over to the Raptor, same deal. You get huge fender flares, all the LED lighting, dual exhaust. So no complaints there with looks. Let's move on to the interiors. So starting with the TRX's door panel, you can see how everything is laid out. You got quite a lot of storage, leather, Alcantara, more leather, really nice stitching, all of your controls and everything. The Raptor is kind of similar the way it's set up. We get leather along the armrest. You don't get the Alcantara, but you do get this really cool denim-like rubber material, and then we get some carbon fiber on it. So both door panels are pretty cool looking. Moving to these seats, we get leather seats on here. Got some stitching, color contrast. We get TRX up top, leather and Alcantara with a badge on the center console, more leather on the steering wheel and dash. This one has a vertical screen. It's like a 12-inch screen or something like that. It's huge. You have all your controls, which we'll see better in the POV. More leather on the dashboard, panoramic roof, and then paddle shifters on the steering wheel. So really nice interior. You can't complain with that. Moving over to the Raptor, a little bit more sporty seats with this Alcantara design. You can see all the power controls. We get Raptor as well. Speakers in the headrests. Carbon fiber on the dash with a little bit of color. And then we also get a very similar size screen, just in the different orientation. We have more carbon fiber and everything, leather, and then we even get the paddle shifters, stitching on the steering wheel, and then a digital gauge cluster. Moving to the back seat amenities, both trucks are going to have 3 seats back here. As you can see, we get storage in the back of this Ram. We also get your climate vents, a little bit more storage and cup holders, USB ports, things like that. And then these seats lift up and you have quite a lot of storage space down here, making it pretty roomy. There's also storage underneath the floor, which is a really cool touch. So definitely nice and roomy. We got a power sliding rear glass, speakers in the headrest, ton of space in there. Moving over to the Raptor, just like the front seats, we have the same cool contours and everything. 3 seats back here, power glass, no speakers in the headrest, but we do get heated rear seats, similar everywhere else, and then some storage up front. All right, so now sitting in the back of this Ford Raptor. So this is a crew cab like you saw. I'm 5'11". I have plenty of headroom, about an inch or so. And then even with the front seat set at my height, I have plenty of knee room and foot room. In the center, we do get the movable piece with the armrest, as well as 2 cup holders. I'm really roomy back here, no complaints. I can absolutely be in the back of a Raptor for quite some time. And then into the TRX. This does feel a little bit more roomy, maybe about the same headroom. This driver's seat might be a little bit farther than the seat was in the Raptor, but you have a ton of space in here, same armrest. And then in the center, pulling this down, same sort of deal with the cup holders and armrest. So it does feel like the Ram is just slightly bigger back here, but both are pretty darn roomy, and I wouldn't mind being in either truck. So real quick, let's take a look at the suspension before we check out the beds and tailgates. Both have a pretty crazy suspension. We get Bilstein's on the TRX, has the active terrain dynamics. So crazy active suspension, huge control arms, massive coil springs. Over on the Raptor, we get Fox shocks, so different brand. We still have the active suspension, things like that, massive coil springs, and then the trailing arms and all that good stuff. So both trucks, I think, equally have a pretty awesome setup. Moving to the Ram now, let's open this tailgate. We have a button we can press, automatically opens up. Pretty large bed in here, it's around 5.5, 6 feet. We got some LED lights, no spray and bed liner, but of course you could do that on the aftermarket. Lifting up the tailgate, pretty lightweight, so very easy to do. Over on the Ford here, we have the same electronic button. It's gonna automatically open up. This truck does have a spray and bed liner. We also have LED lights, a lot of tow hooks, things like that. One of my favorite features though, the Ford truck has this one right here. You can open up this entire step, and you also have your handle that'll open up. So this is a nice convenient feature over the Ram for sure. So now, before the POV test drive, let's hear what the Raptor sounds like. We have 4 different exhaust modes. We'll just keep this into the loudest Baja mode. We'll rev this bad boy up and then see what a TRX is gonna sound like. All right, so now in the Ford Raptor, we're in drive. We're in the basic drive mode, automatic, and the exhaust, we'll leave that into normal mode. We do have suspension modes as well. We have a normal, sport, and a off-road one. Then we even have steering mode. So I really like that aspect. That's a nice touch. Huge steering wheel, feels really nice. I like how thick it is. Massive paddle shifters, and you're nice and high up. This is definitely a pretty sweet truck. So let's test out the EcoBoost, getting up to speed in just basic automatic. Has a pretty good sound to it, not gonna lie. I do like the full digital display as well. Really comfortable just driving this like normal. Let's go ahead and play with some of the modes. So let's put the exhaust into the Baja mode to really feel it out. And we'll go into the sport driving mode. And we have manual mode, so we can use these massive paddle shifters. But really cool already. Actually sounds really good with that exhaust valve opened up. For a V6, it actually sounds way better than the other EcoBoost that I've been in. So I think they did a good job tuning this exhaust. It's not that fast. I mean, it does get up to speed pretty well, but you can tell it's not crazy fast. There is tuning available, so you can kind of do that if you'd like. But overall driving, I think it's a really comfortable truck to be in. You know, I really don't have any complaints. I think you get the really good combination of all the driving modes, the exhaust, you know, you get the street performance, and then you get the off-road performance as well. Really soft suspension, just the normal mode again, keeping it on the street, of course. But really can't complain. Let's test out a 3-point turn. We'll turn around, see how maneuverable a truck like this is. But Ford definitely did a really good job with the Raptors. They are really sweet. Brakes do a pretty good job. And pretty good turning circle. We do have the full camera system. I'll go ahead and show that just for the heck of it. But putting this into reverse now, we get the top down, we have a front view, we also have a rear view you can change. So if I go into drive, you can see how with the camera icon, it'll now have the front view. So pretty cool, you get all the tech you need, you know, blind spot, distance pacing, radar cruise control, things like that. Get back up to some speed and sport mode exhaust. Suspension in sport. It does firm up quite a lot. I can notice that and feel it. So yeah, that is a Ford Raptor driving this. I do like these things a lot. I think you really get a lot for the money. In the used market, this is going for about 100 grand, but MSRP, you know, is a little bit less than what you're gonna see on the TRX. But, you know, good view out. So yeah, let's hop in the TRX. So then hopping now into the TRX, the screen is definitely a big difference. We do have physical controls just like you saw on the Ford. A little bit different layout, auxiliaries, which we had on the Ford up top. So a little bit different. I'd say it's really just what you prefer. I do like the screen better on the Ford because this way you can see more of it. This is kind of divided into two. And then we do not get a full digital display. We just have analog and then a small screen. So personally, I actually like the Fords better. I think the interior is better. I know when this all came out, everyone said the Ram was the best interior. I do prefer the Fords. Not to say this is bad. This is a really nice truck. And we got launch control, all that good stuff. And it is really nice in here. But I kind of like the Ford a little bit better. But let's talk about the fun stuff. So we're just in the normal drive mode. And we'll get up to speed, feel out how this supercharged V8 will do. We're in automatic everything. And I don't think there's adjustable exhaust, but you hear that supercharger. Wow. And that was just giving it a little bit of throttle. It does rev out the engine, but man, that is a quick truck. And that sounds insane. Manual mode, we just put it over. Then we have your modes over here. We have custom, all sorts of good modes in here. We'll go into the Baja mode. And then using these paddle shifters, you can tell there is muscle in this truck, and the steering is actually a little bit heavier, feels like a heavier truck. This is definitely a step up in performance, but it'd be sweet to be in a Raptor R to feel out that truck as well. I love the supercharger. God, it sounds so good. I think the transmission's a little bit quicker actually in this. While you do get the 10-speed versus an 8-speed, this feels much more performance-oriented, and it feels a lot more responsive with the paddle shifters. Downshifts are way quicker too. Yeah, that's a fast truck. And of course with 700 horsepower, this is gonna have the top end to really carry the speed well. So I certainly like this for the performance driving. I think you definitely get that. We'll go back into the automatic mode and everything. As far as normal comfort and things like that, it is just as comfortable. Armrests are in a great place in both trucks. I don't have an issue there. Great view out. You can see this huge hood. You know, all the mirrors do the same. They're very similar trucks as far as just the overall layout and the dimensions. So you can tell that aspect with each of them. Hitting the brakes hard. Yep, it does take a little bit to stop because it's pretty heavy. I mean, we have like a 600 or 700 weight difference. Turning circle is nice and sharp actually. Let's check out the camera. If I go into reverse now, So I'm not the biggest fan. We just have the screen up here. I don't know if there's really any other adjustments. So that's kind of it on this one. I think you can get front cameras and top down, but you get a smaller screen. So again, I think the Ford's interior is a little bit better, but you get the crazy power and performance with the TRX. And then getting back up to some speed, back in automatic normal mode. And the V8 sounds is better for sure. You get the engine rumble with the supercharger whine and that exhaust. Gosh, they're both really cool trucks. It'd be kind of hard pressed to figure out which one is better. I'm really gonna leave that up to you guys in the comments below. What do you guys think really is the better truck? I think the TRX kills it with the engine power plant, but you can get that in the Ford as well. I think the Ford as a truck, I would prefer buying a Ford over a Ram. I think Ford just does it better. But you get that muscle in this. I mean, Dodge, they stick their supercharged V8 in any car they make, and it becomes an instant success. So obviously, sticking that in a Ram, you definitely have made a great truck with that, especially with all the drive modes and things like that. It does feel like a heavier truck. I don't think it's as composed for street driving. I think the Raptor does feel a little bit more sporty in that aspect. But again, you just got that muscle in a truck like this. So this is kind of right in line with what a Hellcat's gonna offer you. It's like that, just that old school, heavy, big muscle car. This is the same thing. It's a big, heavy muscle truck. The Ford, you know, the Mustang's a little bit more toned down as far as the weight, same with the Ford GT. So I think Ford kind of knows the nimble handling a little bit better than Dodge. I don't think Dodge really is interested in the nimble street stuff. So they're into just big power, you know, muscle stuff. I think the Ford definitely has a little bit more of that tossable aspect, which personally I do like better. All right, so we are back from driving in the Ram TRX and the Ford Raptor. Overall, they are awesome trucks. I think they both look fantastic. How many muscular trucks are there? You know, these are the kings. There's nothing else like these two out on the roads. Personally, I love the motor you get in the Ram. It is awesome having that kind of power, the supercharged noise, the V8 rumble, and the transmission is really good. I was not expecting it to shift that quick and actually feel responsive. The Ford, the 10-speed isn't quite as responsive, but you do get a lot of drive modes and I think more configurability with the truck. However, being significantly less power, horsepower and torque is way lower than what you get on the V8. It's not nearly as fast. It's a quick truck. It's definitely adequately powered, but this is actually a pretty darn fast truck. Trucks do not have power like you get in a TRX. The interior though on the Ford, I think it's way better. I think it's easier to use, the better screen, the digital dashboard. I think Ford did a much better job. Not to say this is bad. I think this is like really good, and then the Ford is just that extra step up. So overall, I think the trucks are about equal to what they offer. You get the muscle performance, and then you get a nicer interior. So it kind of depends on what you'd like. For the new pricing, I would buy the Ford just because it is significantly cheaper, but I would go for the Raptor R if I really had unlimited funds. It's gonna be similar in price with the TRX, but you get, of course, the Ford interior. So comment below, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think is the better truck? You have the cheaper price point with a little bit less power, but you get an iconic supercharged V8 in the TRX, which I cannot stop smiling with driving that. So that is certainly a huge selling point. But that is it for today's video. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Big shout out and thank you once again to Carolina Auto Direct. They have a crazy selection of nearly brand new vehicles in stock and ready to go. More inventory than I've seen in today's crazy market. So definitely check out their website. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.